Are pesticides getting into our brains? Apparently so. Today, I'm going to talk about the blood-brain barrier, pesticides, and a recent article citing new research into how one of the most commonly used pesticides could potentially disrupt myelination. Yikes. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome. My name is Vickie Hadge, and this is Even So It Is Well. I'm glad that you're here. A recent article published by Arizona State University caught my eye. In this article, they share information about how glyphosate, commonly known as Roundup, passes through the blood-brain barrier and may interfere with myelination. Yeah, it's not good. I will leave a link below to the full article if you would like to check it out. Neurodegenerative diseases can be associated with genetic factors, cardiovascular disease, diet, and lifestyle. And you know I'm all about diet and lifestyle choices that we can make to be as healthy as we can be. Everything that we consume has the ability to either help us or harm us. So let's start with what the research says, and then I'll share what we can do about it. For the first time, researchers have demonstrated that glyphosate can indeed cross the blood-brain barrier. This barrier is a network of closely knit cells called the endothelial cells, and they help protect our brain. They only let in things that our brain needs, like water and oxygen. They actually do a really good job at this, so good that many medications can't get through. They are there to protect our brains, the most important part of us, the supercomputer of the body. They keep us safe from toxins and pathogens, most of the time. In this research, they show that these results show for the first time that glyphosate infiltrates the brain. Yeah, this is really not good. Once it's in the brain, it enhances tumor necrosis factor alpha and soluble beta amyloid. Tumor necrosis factor alpha is a pro-inflammatory cytokine that typically protects the brain, but when it's dysregulated, it may result in diseases linked with neuroinflammation, like MS. Other diseases linked to neuroinflammation are Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and ALS, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. The increased levels of soluble beta amyloid is very concerning too. It's a sticky protein that interferes with our neurons and forms plaques. These plaques are one of the key indicators of Alzheimer's disease, one of the most common forms of dementia. The Alzheimer's Association reports that 1 in 9 people in the U.S. aged 65 and older has Alzheimer's disease, and there are 6.1 million Americans diagnosed with it now. This is really troubling to me. Every year, 250 million pounds of glyphosate are applied to the agricultural crops in the U.S., and we're eating a lot of it. In a report from the CDC, they found that 80% of the urine samples of children and adults contain glyphosate. 80%! Although the chemical is regarded as safe, there's very little known about the long-term effects and prolonged exposure. It was only introduced in 1974 and really didn't get widely used until 1996. We are now seeing research suggesting that it may be bad for the health of the general population. Both the Environmental Protection Agency in the US and the European Food Safety Authority are looking into the safety of it. More research and investigation is definitely needed. So, what can we do about it? How can we protect ourselves? Well, first, we can avoid the foods that are most heavily contaminated with pesticides. According to the Environmental Working Group, the dirty dozen foods to avoid that have heavy pesticides are strawberries, spinach, kale and mustard greens, nectarines, apples, grapes, bell and hot peppers, cherries, peaches, pears, celery, and tomatoes. Whenever possible, try to buy organic of these fruits and vegetables. On the flip side, the clean 15, those that have the least pesticide residue, are avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, sweet peas, asparagus, honeydew melon, kiwi, cabbage, mushrooms, cantaloupes, mangoes, watermelon, and sweet potatoes. Oats, chickpeas, and tofu are 3 other foods that should be organic whenever possible. All 3 of these crops have glyphosate sprayed on them very close to harvest. Doing this makes it easier for the crops to be harvested. This means that the pesticides are more likely to stay on them. Non-organic oats have some of the highest levels of pesticides of any foods. In fact, the Environmental Working Group found that all breakfast cereals have glyphosate in them. So when making your grocery list, be sure to get the organic one possible, especially for the dirty dozen. We can also reduce pesticides by washing our fruits and vegetables. There are 3 methods that I recommend. First, you can wash your fruits and veggies in baking soda and water. Mix 2 tablespoons of baking soda into 100 ounces of water and then let the food soak for 12 to 15 minutes. The pH of the baking soda helps break down the acidic components of the pesticides. Giving them a gentle rub will also help remove the pesticides too. Then give them a rinse and pat them dry. You can also use a vinegar soak. Mix 1 part white vinegar to 3 parts water. And again, let the food soak for about 15 minutes and then rinse off and pat dry. You can also purchase a vegan and non-toxic spray such as this Eat Cleaner spray, which I will put a link to below. The more research that's being done on pesticides and how they're in our foods, the more concerning it becomes. We are ingesting chemicals that are messing with our immune functions, and I believe it's a contributing factor to the rise of diseases. Let me know what you think. Do you think we're seeing more diseases due to the increased use of pesticides in our foods? Thank you so much for watching today. Please do me a favor and like this video because this is a subject of videos that doesn't get a lot of support from the algorithms. And the more likes it gets, the more it's going to be shown to others. Also, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Until next time, be well.